All right, Kate, thanks for having me. Thanks for joining the call. Let me try this again. Hi, Kate. Thanks for joining the call.
Thanks for having me.
All right, first question on the table as we get started is, were you incentivized, coerced, or by other means brought to this without your will, or are you here of your own free will?
No coercion here. I'm definitely here on my own free will.
Thank you for answering that. Okay, so we were just laughing and talking in the green room here before we came on about this topic. And I said, we better record because we're getting into the good stuff. And now I want to get into that conversation with you today. Tell me a little bit about your story, what you're willing to share with anybody who might be listening to this and prior to us getting engaged. And then the next conversation will be about what happened when we got engaged. So tell me a little bit about your story.
Yeah, sure. So rewind, I guess, 7 years ago. I'll give you a really quick snapshot. I had 2 small children. I was working in a corporate role here in Melbourne, Australia, that had me leaving the house at like 6:30 a.m., returning 7:30 p.m. To add to this, my husband was working full-time on his own business. Childcare was seeing more of our children than what we were. And my husband was also found him cutting back on his hours, the higher paying role at that point, to do pickups and drop-offs. So something had to change. I mean, it wasn't working for us. So this is when my journey as an Amazon seller began. Initially part-time, and then 8 months in, I moved to full-time. And then I guess fast forward 7 years to where I stand now. I now have a business partner, and together we've developed a company that supports us both financially. Gives us lots of flexibility with family. She's a mum with similar age children herself. And I've even added a third child into the mix.
We love children around here. So that's cool.
So when becoming, I guess, a part of the Voltage team or ASIN 360, we actually already had, our story is probably a tiny bit different in that we actually already had an established business. Our purpose was purely to get a different perspective on our business. We're really strong advocates for having business coaches involved in our business, and we've had several over the last 7 years. So for us, it was about leveraging yours and Reed's strategic take on our business and help us setting plans for the future and putting our best foot forward, I guess, diversifying risk, growth, scale, that type of thing.
Fantastic. Now, prior to that, obviously, as you mentioned, you had a good business running. Obviously, you had good profits, and you guys have created something wonderful, which is kudos to you. I'm honored that you guys let us come in and offer our advisory and opinion and give us the chance to mentor with you a little bit on changes and opportunities for you. How has that been? And I'll preface this by the conversation that led to me hitting record, which was a clear understanding that not all immediate monetary benefits are part of a mentorship strategy. It is how do you align that, short-term and long-term gains. Can you speak to a little bit about what changed that relationship over the time we've spent together so far?
Yeah, so our experience with ASIN 360, and really I just see it as yourself and Reed, has been really good. Over the last 8 months, we've had some complex scenarios like bringing on a third business partner into the mix and working out what type of contractual relationship to put in place, legal structure of our company to facilitate additional brands. And Reed has been instrumental in helping navigate some of these kind of situations. We've also had the privilege of being introduced to various people from yourself, Neil, who have been advantageous for you guys and therefore been really helpful for us because they've helped us expedite the process in various parts of our business that needed looking at. So our goal coming into this relationship, as you mentioned, wasn't of a short-term monetary basis, certainly long-term, but it's around getting our business in shape for that long-term scale and growth, being able to manage it, having it set up in a way that it's not going to cause problems in the future, particularly when we are looking at down the track, you know, we might sell off a brand, being in the best position to do that. So yeah, there's been lots of advantages we have found with working with you both.
Well, thank you. That's very nice of you saying
Yeah.
that. I mean, you guys are a lot of fun. You're very go-getter. You are driven in what you want to do. And as we've talked before, and as you know, in some of these things you mentioned yourself, some of the strategies in the business are kind of complicated changes. They aren't just overnight changes. You don't want to just rush into some of those aspects with the legal, the financial, and as mentioned, brand diversement. That we strategized on originally, how to create some of that differentiation, go after different levels and affiliated, affinity levels of your product and brand differentiation, giving you kind of a broader strategy. And it takes a bit of time and energy kind of put that together. What do you see as the end result then? If you mentioned a little bit possibly of selling, which is one of the things we talked about originally, getting you set up for and are helping you get into that position. What do you see time-wise in terms of what you look at now versus what you look at before in terms of those?
We've seen a huge change within our business. We've actually moved from being a one brand business to very soon being a 3-branded business. One to be launched, a new brand to be launched in January, another one to be launched in March 2022. So our goals, I'll take that back. Had you asked me 8 months ago where I would see myself now, I wouldn't have forecasted that we would have 3 brands now on the table versus our one. Coming in, we certainly knew we wanted to diversify our risk because we had all of our eggs in one basket, I guess. So if that was affected, we were instantly affected. So risk diversification was a really big driver for us. But just having you and Reed analyze our business and be able to go, okay, well, here's some other options that you may not have considered, have greatly changed our direction. And it's exciting. We're in a really exciting place right now. We feel more in control, I guess, of our destiny.
Oh, that's very cool. That's and that's a good outcome from your own language, your own understanding, and your own change in belief, and obviously what you can do and where you could go. I know you were doing relatively good numbers. Where did you change the focus and perception of what you think is possible in terms of revenue and growth in your business? Did that shift at all in the conversation time in the last 8 months?
Yes, it has. I mean, our first business was established organically through organic growth, which was great initially for us. We'd never done an Amazon business before, so it allowed us time, I guess, to get our heads around and grow slowly with the business. Financially, it wasn't a huge burden on us either. But now with these 2 new brands, our outlook is quite different. We've got funding from the initial successful brand, so we can do things more quickly. And very quickly, you can see how just adding those additional brands, adding those additional SKUs can certainly add to your wealth long term. Without a doubt. I mean, our goal is now to basically spend the next 5 years really building particularly the 2 new brands. And I'm not just talking from a revenue base, I'm also talking from a customer lifetime value, the CLV perspective, repeat purchase, our customer base, essentially building that up over the next 5 years so that we are in a really good position to be attractive to potential buyers or capital venturers. So that's our goal. Work really hard for the next 5 years, then be in a position where we can sell off 1 or 2. And then I guess it's a bit of a rinse and repeat cycle. We're very passionate about what we do, so we only go down avenues that excite us and that we're very passionate about. So that will be the biggest hurdle for us in that giving up, I guess, anything that we've built. But I think having that in our minds from the outset also helps us remove the emotional attachment to the brands that we just seem to automatically get very emotionally attached to.
It's our babies, right? We raised it up.
Yeah.
It's our little kid. At some point, we know we have to let go of it, but we still
Yes.
hang on just a little bit to that. And I got to say, though, the confidence you have now and the way you're voicing things, the language change from 8 months ago, the fact that you're talking about CLTV now as a function of your business, the realization of brand maturity, just you, the language, your presence is very different. I don't know if you noticed that about yourself, but kudos to you.
Thank
you. Yeah, really, because I mean, you're a different person than the one I met 8 months ago. Your strategy, your thought, and again, your language and presence is very different. And I appreciate that because I see you grasping those concepts we talked about, and now you're owning them and you're executing them. And I know that that's just a time from here to there when you're going to see some massive gains in your business, both financially and just through the growth of your brand as you build it into a real business, which is so cool to watch. Good for you, Kate.
And I think too, just to add to that, I think, and this is why I think business coaches are so valuable to have within your business, because particularly when you're working in the depths of your business, it is very hard at times to kind of step back out and see the bigger picture and look at different ways that you can manipulate that picture or change that picture. So having someone from outside looking in and sharing their perspective is invaluable. It's really allows you to see the what's the saying, the sky from the trees or whatever it is.
Yeah, forest through the trees. That's what you're saying.
Thank you.
Yes, forest through the trees.
That's what I was looking for.
The other one I was thinking of is when the student is ready, the mentor will appear. And clearly you were ready to dive in. You were clearly ready to accept that feedback, and you were clearly ready to understand the potential outcomes and opportunities that it would give you. And so I'm just honored to serve you guys and to have our business serve you. And I appreciate your faith in my business. And I thank you so much for coming in here and sharing a little bit about your story with everybody and giving them some encouragement.
Thank you, Neil. Yeah, it's been a lovely ride.
Good. Well, we got a lot more to do. And your brand's got a lot more to go. And we're still not done sharing resources and connections and networking, because we got some cool stuff to do next as those new brands come out.
Yep.
So lots of work to still do and a lot of upside and good potential on there. So
yeah, exciting times ahead. So it's good.
Well, we'll sign off and get back to work then.
Yes. Thank you. Thanks so much, Neil.
Thanks for your time, Kate. I appreciate you joining me today.
Thank you.